So our ordinance number 10 of 2013 puts in a new part VA in Cap 117, which is Stamp Duty Ordinance. Okay? And therefore, alternative bonds are under a qualified business arrangement are regarded as bonds. So I'll be telling you what a business arrangement is, right, for the purpose of Cap 117, and then you've got the definition of a loan as well. Okay? So it must be a loan in order to, because our whole structure of our ordinance is based on a loan and interest paid on loans, because they're debt instruments. And therefore, if you're going to give tax relief, you have to really understand those two elements. Actually, I would think you don't even need the ordinance from the way it's structured, providing the Inland Revenue adopt policies which allow structures to be approved, and they could do it through notes, issuances as well. But I think they've decided to do it through amendment of the ordinance because it's more open and transparent as to how it can be done, which is a good thing, and puts us on the map. So this is a general structure of what the alternative bond scheme is. First, you have to have the sukuk, which is a bond arrangement. And then that's called the alternative bond, and it's a sukuk, right? And then you have the SPV. So you notice how the ordinance describes the bond arrangement A and investment arrangement B. You have to have these two parts of the investment. Okay? So you have the originator, and then the originator, so you have the bond sukuk being issued. Okay, so he issues the sukuk, you get the proceeds to the SPV, you set up an SPV. The SPV gives to the originator. Now the originator must enter into the specified investment arrangements. They've given Arabic name, but they call it either a lease arrangement, or partnership arrangement, or profit markup arrangement, or an agency. So that's a specified business arrangement. Now you can only do it in those. You can't form something else. You can't form a juala or the other contracts. Okay, it has to be only these four arrangements that you've got. Okay, and if you've done that, then you've got a specified alternative bond scheme. This top part, once you've complied with all that, then you've got a specified alternative bond scheme. And then you must have a qualified investment arrangement. So you must have certain qualifying conditions, right? And that means it has a specific term. There must be a conduit conditions. There must be investment arrangements, financial liability conditions. So for it to be a qualifying condition, in order to make it a qualified investment arrangement, you have to have those conditions. And then you also need to have qualified bond arrangement. So for the bond part, so the investment part B, bond arrangement, you have qualifying conditions, and these are some of the conditions. You must have a reasonable commercial return, bond arrangements as financial liabilities, you must have a Hong Kong connection, there's a certain length required, arrangements put forward and according to the terms and conditions set out. So if you've got all those conditions, then it's called a qualifying condition. Now if you have all of these present, you've got a little checklist, you tick them off, then you'll have special tax treatment. If you don't, then it's be a disqualifying event. And then you'll have an obligation to inform the Inland Revenue Department, and of course there are consequences for entering into a disqualifying event. So this is generally the whole system of amendments that have been made. Okay, so you can see the debt arrangements covered by Section 22. Okay, so basically it's a debt arrangement. And then of course, let's look at if the government of Hong Kong SAR issues a sukuk, it will be the originator. Okay, and then the bond issuer, there will be the SPV. So government will have to set up a SPV bond issuer. And then what will happen is you'll get the monies that will go from the alternative bond here will go to the bond issuer. The bond issuer will then give it to the originator. Originator will then have to enter into one of these specified investment arrangements, and then the returns from that will go, the investment would be regarded by this bond issuer as interest used to redeem or payments, additional payments as well, okay, regards to investment return, which you can use for those specific purposes. You can't, and then you've got specific conditions here to not exceed the amount that's invested. And we'll come into that in more detail, but I just wanted to give you an idea as to the overall structure. So you could always use this as a guide to the map, you know, to the ordinance. and extremely useful actually, because otherwise this becomes very listy to try and understand the ordinance with all these different conditions, Part A, Part B, qualifying investment, and this hopefully will enable you to go through the ordinance pretty quickly.